The navel is not merely a mark of birth, it is the energetic center, the origin point of your life's connection to your mother, and through her, to the earth itself. Every emotion, every thought, every energy that you carry flows through this center, quietly, continuously. When the navel energy is disturbed, the flow of life force becomes chaotic. You begin to feel blocked, cursed, burdened, as if invisible weights press upon your chest. But remember this, no curse can survive where balance and awareness are restored. Take a small amount of pure oil, it could be mustard, olive or coconut oil, and gently warm it between your palms. Then place a drop on your navel before sleep. As you do, close your eyes, place one hand over your belly, and one over your heart. Breathe slowly and repeat to yourself, I return to my center. I break all energy that is not mine. I am whole again. This is not superstition. This is energy medicine. The alignment of breath, body, and awareness. When you touch your navel with intention, you are sending a signal through your body, telling every cell, every vibration, I am safe now. And in that safety, curses, which are nothing more than energetic distortions, cannot survive. It is not the oil that holds the power, it is your awareness. It is your belief that heals. The navel ritual is simply a reminder, a key to open the door that was never locked, only forgotten. So tonight, as you lie down, place your hand on your navel and listen to the silence inside. There you will find, not curses, not darkness, but the quiet rhythm of life, always waiting to be remembered. In ancient traditions, the human body was not seen merely as flesh and bones. It was regarded as a sacred temple where invisible rivers of energy flowed. Among all the energy centers, the navel or the solar center holds a position of profound importance. It is the first point of connection between a child and its mother, the place through which life itself was once sustained. Through the umbilical cord, nourishment, emotion, and even vibration were exchanged. That sacred connection does not vanish after birth, it only transforms. The navel remains the energetic echo of that origin, the reminder that life entered you through this single point. It is the bridge between the external world and your inner cosmos. When you understand this, you realize that the navel is not simply a physical mark but a spiritual compass pointing toward balance, grounding, and inner harmony. If you observe closely, you will notice that the entire body seems to organize itself around this center. Every motion, whether you walk, sit, or breathe, revolves around the core, and at its very heart lies the navel. In martial arts, this is known as the dantian or hara, the seat of internal power. Masters train for decades not merely to strengthen the body, but to stabilize this energetic center. A stable navel point means stability in thought, in breath, and in presence. When the energy in this area is disturbed, you may feel ungrounded, emotions fluctuate, focus weakens, and the mind drifts easily into chaos. But when the energy here is calm and steady, a different quality arises, a quiet authority, a sense of being anchored to something greater than yourself. This is why ancient warriors, monks and yogis all began their disciplines by learning how to connect awareness to the belly. They knew that balance in life begins from balance in this center. The modern human, however, has largely forgotten this truth. We live almost entirely in the head, consumed by thoughts, screens, and the constant noise of the outer world. The awareness that once resided in the belly has migrated upward, creating a gap between body and mind. This disconnection is what makes so many people feel spiritually hollow, emotionally unstable, or physically weak. When energy no longer flows through the navel, it becomes trapped in the upper centers, leading to restlessness, anxiety, and overthinking. Many believe these feelings come from fate or external curses, yet in reality, they stem from an imbalance within. The body is speaking, but we no longer listen. To restore balance, one must return awareness to the source, to the center from which life itself began. This is why touching the navel with intention, breathing into it, or applying natural oils is more than a physical act. It is an act of remembrance. It is a way of saying to your body, I am here, I have not forgotten you. The moment you bring attention to your navel, you re-establish communication between mind and body. The flow of life force which may have been scattered or weakened, begins to move freely again. You may feel warmth spreading through your abdomen, or a gentle pulse awakening deep inside. This is not imagination, it is energy rediscovering its path. The navel is the silent keeper of your life force, your intuition, and your grounding. When you reconnect with it, the entire system begins to align, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. You do not need complex rituals or elaborate prayers. Awareness itself is enough. The navel is your compass, and through it you can always find your way back home, to balance, to peace, to the truth that you were never truly disconnected in the first place. When people speak of feeling cursed, they are often describing an unseen weight that seems to follow them, a heaviness in the heart, a string of misfortunes, a sense that life itself has turned against them. But what if this so-called curse is not coming from outside but from within? In the world of energy and awareness, what we call bad luck or negative forces often has a deeper origin. It is the manifestation of inner disharmony. When the energy of the body, particularly the life force flowing through the navel and the lower centers, becomes disturbed or blocked, it begins to reflect outwardly in our experiences. The outer world becomes a mirror for the inner turbulence. You may find yourself facing conflicts, illnesses, emotional instability, or a loss of peace, and your first instinct may be to search for an external cause. Yet in truth, the energy that shapes your reality has simply fallen out of rhythm. This imbalance feels like a curse because it alters the natural harmony between your mind, body, and spirit. In traditional teachings across many cultures, energy is considered the invisible thread that weaves together every aspect of existence. When this energy moves freely, life feels effortless, the mind is clear, the body is light, and even challenges seem manageable. But when it stagnates or becomes polluted by fear, anger, jealousy, or unresolved pain, that same energy begins to manifest as difficulty. Think of a river. When it flows cleanly, it nourishes everything in its path. But when it becomes clogged with debris, the water turns still and foul. The energy within you behaves in the same way. Curses, whether real or imagined, are like blockages in this internal river. They trap the flow of life force and create an emotional environment where negativity thrives. The mind, sensing this imbalance, starts to project fears and expectations that further reinforce the feeling of being under attack. Thus the curse continues, not because someone placed it upon you, but because the imbalance within you keeps it alive. It is essential to understand that energy follows attention. When you constantly think that you are cursed, you feed that thought with power. The body begins to respond to your belief, tightening muscles, changing breathing patterns, and altering your emotional chemistry. Fear becomes fuel for the very thing you wish to escape. This is why self-awareness is the true antidote to all curses. When you shift your perception from victimhood to observation, the energy begins to untangle itself. The moment you stop reacting and start witnessing, you break the cycle that sustains energetic distortion. By breathing deeply into your navel, by centering your awareness there, you reclaim authority over your internal state. You stop giving your power to external circumstances and bring it back to your core. The so-called curse dissolves, not because an external force intervened, but because you restored balance to the energy that creates your experience. This is also why practices involving the navel, such as applying oil or meditating upon it, are so transformative. They are physical gestures that help redirect awareness to the center of power. When you touch your navel mindfully, you send a message to the body that you are ready to heal and to take responsibility for your own energy. The warmth of your hand, the scent of the oil, the rhythm of your breath, All of these combine to calm the nervous system and restore flow. As energy begins to circulate freely once again, feelings of being cursed or burdened gradually disappear. The body becomes lighter, the mind more peaceful, and the heart more open. This is the secret. Most people overlook. What you perceive as dark forces are often only reflections of energy that has forgotten how to move. When you restore that movement through awareness and presence, even the deepest shadows lose their power. In this way, what once felt like a curse becomes a teacher, guiding you back to your center, to stillness, and to the realization that every imbalance carries within it the potential for awakening. Throughout history, rituals have served as bridges between the visible and the invisible, between the body that can be touched and the energy that cannot be seen. The simple act of applying oil on the navel may appear ordinary, even trivial, to the untrained eye. Yet in the deeper dimensions of awareness, it is a sacred act of reconnection. When you warm a drop of natural oil between your palms and bring it to your navel, you are not merely nourishing the skin, you are symbolically returning to your origin, to the center from which life began. The oil represents life's fluidity, its capacity to move and adapt. The navel represents your core, your balance point, the stillness within movement. By combining both, you perform a gesture of remembrance. You acknowledge that your healing does not depend on external forces, but arises from the awareness you bring to the present moment. The oil becomes a messenger of intention, carrying your conscious energy into the very heart of your being. When you perform this ritual consciously, something subtle but profound begins to shift. As you sit in stillness, placing your attention on the warmth spreading through your abdomen, the rhythm of your breathing slows down. The mind, usually caught in the restless patterns of thinking, begins to quiet itself. This is not magic in the mystical sense, it is energy responding to awareness. The nervous system, sensing safety, releases its tension, the heartbeat synchronizes with the breath. The flow of life, previously fragmented by stress and worry, begins to harmonize. In this harmony, the illusion of curses, negativity, and misfortune dissolves naturally. For as long as you are disconnected from your center, the world appears chaotic and hostile, but when you return to it, through something as simple as touching your navel with intention, you remember that peace was never gone, it was only hidden beneath layers of distraction and fear. The oil ritual therefore becomes an anchor that brings you back to the calm beneath the storm. It is important to understand that in such rituals, the physical and the spiritual are not separate. The oil, the body, the breath, all are expressions of the same life force manifesting in different forms. When you apply the oil, you are participating in a dialogue with your own energy. You are saying to yourself, I am ready to release what does not belong to me. I am ready to restore flow where there is blockage. The body responds because it has always been listening. It holds memory in every cell, every nerve, every vibration. So when you nurture it with intention, it begins to realign itself. Ancient healers understood this interplay between touch, temperature, and energy. They saw the navel as the control point of internal harmony, where the balance of the elements, earth, water, fire, and air, could be restored. The oil was not chosen randomly, it represented life's essence, the element of fluidity that allows transformation to happen. When applied with reverence, it becomes both medicine and meditation, a quiet ceremony through which your body, mind, and spirit remember their unity. Modern life has distanced us from such simple wisdom. We look for solutions in external remedies, forgetting that the body itself is capable of immense self-regulation when guided by awareness. The ritual of oiling the navel is a reminder of that forgotten intelligence. It calls you to slow down, to reconnect with the language of your body. When your hand rests upon your belly, you begin to feel the gentle pulse of life, a rhythm that has been with you since the beginning. That pulse is your connection to the universe itself, the same force that moves the oceans and stirs the winds. As you focus on it, you realize that the act of healing is not about fighting what is dark, but about bringing light into the place that has been neglected. Every drop of oil becomes a drop of attention, and every breath becomes a bridge back to wholeness. In this state of centered awareness, the boundaries between prayer and action disappear. You are no longer performing a ritual, you have become the ritual itself. Healing does not begin with medicine, or with ritual, or even with movement. It begins with awareness. The greatest healer that has ever existed is not something external to you, but the consciousness that resides within you. Awareness is the silent observer that watches all experiences without judgment. It is the light that reveals where imbalance hides. When you become aware of your pain, your fear, your tension, or your sadness without trying to suppress them, something miraculous happens. Those energies begin to transform. What was once dense becomes lighter. What was once blocked begins to flow again. Awareness is not passive. It is deeply active, yet without effort. It does not fight against what is wrong. It simply illuminates it. In that illumination, distortion cannot survive. Curses, negativity, and emotional wounds lose their grip. The moment you stop feeding them with unconscious attention and start seeing them clearly, the act of seeing, of truly seeing, is already the beginning of release. When you touch your navel with mindfulness, you are practicing this very form of healing awareness. Your hand becomes an instrument of consciousness, your breath a messenger of peace. The navel, as the center of your energy system, responds immediately to awareness. It is like the surface of still water. When light touches it, reflection becomes clear. In the same way, when awareness touches your energy center, clarity replaces confusion. This is why so many spiritual traditions emphasize meditation on the lower abdomen or dantian. They understood that awareness centered here grounds the spirit into the body. Without this grounding, awareness remains scattered, floating in thought, unable to penetrate deeply enough to bring real healing. But when awareness descends from the mind to the belly, the entire energetic structure of the body begins to stabilize. The breath deepens, the heart rate slows, and the nervous system begins to shift from survival to balance. In this state, your body's natural intelligence awakens, the intelligence that knows how to heal itself. Awareness also teaches you to take responsibility for your energy. As long as you believe that healing will come from outside, from objects, substances, or even other people, you remain disconnected from your own power. Awareness changes this relationship completely. It brings you into direct contact with your own inner authority. When you realize that your awareness itself has the power to dissolve fear, you stop giving your energy to fear. When you realize that peace is not something you must create but something you uncover through attention, you stop searching for it outside yourself. The same principle applies to so-called curses or negative energies. These forces cannot harm you when you are aware, because awareness exposes them as illusions, projections of imbalance or fear. The light of consciousness does not fight darkness, it simply makes it disappear. Awareness is therefore not a tool for healing, it is healing. It is the state of alignment in which the body, mind and spirit function as one seamless whole. To cultivate this kind of awareness, you must practice presence in every small act. The ritual of applying oil to your navel, for example, becomes a training ground for mindfulness. As your fingers touch your skin, feel the texture, the temperature, the subtle vibration underneath. Notice how the breath moves in and out of your body, how the warmth begins to spread. Let your attention rest in this sensation without wandering. In doing so, you train yourself to live consciously, not mechanically. The more you practice this awareness, the more you begin to sense the interconnectedness of everything, the unity between your physical body and the energy that animates it. You begin to see that healing is not about adding something new to yourself, but about remembering what has always been present. Awareness reveals that the peace you seek was never gone, only hidden behind layers of distraction and forgetfulness. When you bring awareness to the center of your being, Every cell in your body listens, every thought aligns, and the entire system begins to vibrate with harmony. The healer you were looking for is found, not outside, not above, but within, in the quiet space of your own awakened presence. In every human being, there exists a quiet space that cannot be touched by fear, noise, or chaos, a place of stillness that has been with you since the first breath of life. This stillness is not something that must be achieved. It is your natural state, hidden beneath layers of thought, emotion, and constant movement. To return to this stillness is to return home. When you place your hand on your navel, when you breathe deeply and bring your awareness to your center, you begin the journey back to that inner home. The world outside may continue to move, people may come and go, circumstances may shift, but within that still point, everything is calm. The body, mind, and breath begin to speak the same language again. You realize that healing, peace, and clarity are not distant goals but qualities that arise naturally when you stop running from yourself. In stillness, you meet yourself, not the person shaped by the past or by expectation, but the silent witness that observes all things. Stillness is not the absence of movement, it is the balanced state within movement. Like the eye of a storm, it remains untouched, no matter how fiercely the winds of life blow. Most people live on the surface of the storm, tossed between pleasure and pain, success and failure, approval and rejection. They are constantly reacting, constantly striving to control outcomes, and in doing so they lose connection with their center. Returning to stillness means stepping out of this endless motion. It means realizing that true strength does not come from control but from surrender, from allowing things to unfold without resistance. When you sit in silence, breathing into your navel, you are not escaping life, you are entering it more fully. You begin to sense the rhythm of existence, the natural pulse that guides everything. The mind, which is always seeking answers, finally quiets down enough to listen, and in that listening, wisdom emerges. The answers you were chasing outside reveal themselves in the silence within. The reason inner stillness is so powerful is because it restores harmony between your inner and outer worlds. When you are disconnected from stillness, even small challenges feel overwhelming. The mind amplifies every worry, the emotions react impulsively, and the body tenses in defense. But when you are anchored in stillness, you respond to life instead of reacting to it. You move with awareness rather than fear. This is the secret behind resilience, not hardening yourself against the world, but remaining soft and centered within it. From this place, no curse, no negative influence, no emotional storm can disturb your peace for long. Energy moves freely again, because stillness allows it to. It is in this flow that healing naturally occurs. The moment you stop fighting against your experiences, the moment you stop identifying with the noise, the body and mind realign themselves. This is why so many ancient practices, meditation, breathwork, even martial arts, all lead to the same destination, the rediscovery of inner stillness. To return to stillness is to remember who you truly are beneath all roles and identities. When you sit quietly and bring attention to the center of your being, you may begin to sense something subtle yet infinite, an awareness that observes your thoughts, emotions, and sensations without becoming them. That awareness is the essence of your existence. It does not rise and fall with circumstances, it simply is. This is the same stillness that existed before you were born, and will remain long after. It is the space from which all healing arises. The more you connect with it, the more you realize that what you once called problems or curses are simply disturbances at the surface of life, waves that cannot touch the depths. The navel practice, the breath, the awareness, they all serve one purpose: to lead you back to this inner silence, to the calm ocean beneath the surface waves. In that stillness, you rediscover balance, clarity, and strength, not as something borrowed from the world, but as something that has always been your true nature. So, when you place your hand upon your navel, Understand that you are not performing a ritual to attract magic. You are remembering the power that has always lived within you. The oil, the breath, the stillness, these are not tools of superstition, but instruments of remembrance. They guide your awareness back to the place where energy flows freely, and where peace is not dependent on what happens outside of you. Every curse, every burden, every moment of darkness loses its strength the moment you return to your center, because what many call a curse is nothing but a state of disconnection, a forgetting of your true nature. The instant you reconnect with your own energy, with your breath, with your body, the illusion begins to fade. You realize that healing does not come from doing more, but from being more present. The real power is not in resistance, but in awareness. So tonight, before you sleep, light a small lamp, or simply close your eyes. Warm the oil between your palms and touch the center of your being, your navel. Breathe in deeply and allow the mind to rest in that space of silence. Whisper to yourself, I am not cursed, I am whole, I am energy in harmony. Do not rush this practice. Feel the warmth spread. Feel the calm returning. This is your sacred center, your connection to life itself. And remember this truth, nothing outside of you holds authority over your spirit when you are fully aware of the power within. In awareness, all curses break, all confusion dissolves, and all that remains is the quiet rhythm of life, eternal, peaceful, and free.